Hi, my name's Amy Watanabe, and tonight I have the honor of introducing Debbie Hendricks, aka Coach, into the Hall of Fame. I played for Coach from 2006 to 2009, and then was on her coaching staff in 2010 and again in 2013 through 2015, and I am still here as an assistant volleyball coach. They just can't get rid of me, so. Congratulations to all the inductees tonight. What an incredible class, and you all deserve the recognition. My journey at Metro started back in 2006. In 2006, Joan was our AD, Dunlap had just left, and Coach Hayes had taken over the basketball program. Michael Ball was a senior in college and very cocky. Joe Q was the FAR. Eric Lansing was a student reporter for Met Media. Danny and Adrian just led the women's soccer team to a national championship. And Elaine, of course, was dancing her butt off and giving everybody hugs. And I was a clueless freshman. So this moment's pretty surreal for me. I feel like I'm at a MSU Denver Athletics Legends dinner, and I'm not quite sure how I ended up here, but I'm truly honored to be in this room tonight, and let alone be speaking on behalf of Debbie. I'm going to take this moment to thank all the legends in the crowd for building a winning tradition and putting MSU Denver Athletics on the map for Division II sports. We wouldn't be where we are today without all your hard work and commitment to the university, and we will continue to try to maintain that tradition of excellence you've all built. I have known Coach for 15 years, and what a 15 years it has been. Our relationship has gone through some ups and downs and changed in a few different ways. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. As an athlete, like many people, I was very intimidated by Coach, and it didn't help that I was possibly the worst freshman in history. First of all, I came into preseason not fit and failed every fitness test, and by failed, I mean failed, like not even close to the time, throwing up between sprints, all the things. And then I cried twice in practice. Yep, never talked to Coach except for in individual meetings, which I cried the whole time. And I also didn't know I was a starter for the first half of season, or that we even won the conference tournament until Sheena Bohannon started breakdancing with a silver plate. By my senior year, I was less intimidated by Coach, however, still cried in all of our meetings. I was now pranking her consistently throughout the course of the year with my teammates Knock and Lisa. We would show up on campus over the summer, and we'd see her car parked at 5-hour parking and decide to color and draw over it at least 4 times that summer, and then destroyed it when she left it at the Regency. But the best was when we put a fake AHEC parking ticket on her windshield, and Lisa intended to text Knock and I about how funny we were and how pissed Coach was going to get. And then Lisa did not send that to Knock and I. She sent that text to Coach herself. So that was a big fail. Once I was hired on staff, I got to see the fun-loving side of Coach a lot more, whether that was playing catchphrase, heads up, pretzel poker on the bus, or just chatting in the office. We also started calling each other Coachikins and Amykins. But I think the breakthrough moment was Halloween of 2015 when we dressed up and did our own version of Jimmy Fallon's EO for the team, and it was hilarious. Now Coach and I are in a new phase of our relationship, the friendship phase, and I have attempted to call her Debbie, but it just feels really weird. It's been fun to pick her brain and just chill for the past few years, and I enjoy our talks about life with just a little bit of volleyball. This year, Coach came and spent time, about 3 days with our current team, and she gave us a fresh set of eyes on our team and provided some great feedback. After spending time with our team, she wrote them an inspirational note and said at the right time, the coaches would buy them ice cream. Keep in mind, this team has not played a single match. Coach still owes me ice cream from my freshman year. And how did we have to earn this ice cream? By climbing a freaking mountain with 3 medicine balls and a cooler full of rocks for 3 hours. And at the end of the climb, there was a note inside the cooler that said the coaches will buy us ice cream. And I'm here to tell you we've never gotten that ice cream. And she's going to tell you that she bought it for us, and she didn't. She's lying to you. And I have 12 other teammates from that year that can tell you we never got that ice cream. And then she just walks in here and just gives Team 53 ice cream, and they haven't even done anything. What have happened to your standards, Coach? What has happened? You've gotten soft. While preparing for this speech, I reached out to all sorts of people, former assistant coaches, alumni, roommates, best friends, and there are a few common themes that came out of these conversations. One of the main qualities was Coach's high standards. This is very true. She has high standards for everyone, especially your players, and she would push us to or sometimes past our limits. Coach also made us earn everything. We earned our practice shirts by passing preseason physical fitness tests, or our travel sweats by passing a quiz on travel guidelines in our team handbook. By earning different items that most are given in the world of college athletics, we've learned to appreciate everything we were given, held each other accountable for doing our workouts and studying the handbook, and gained an understanding that being a college athlete is a privilege. This is a tradition we still carry on to this day. While we're talking about earning things, during my career, I was blessed to have been kicked out of the locker room, not only once, but twice. That's right, Coach took our locker room away because we didn't deserve it. My teammates and I like to refer to this experience as Hell Week. During Hell Week, you no longer have your Metro-issued practice t-shirts, backpacks, or duffels. If you're found using the locker room, you will run. And then we're now practicing at 5:45 in the morning instead of the 2:30 slot. You must earn every ball at practice, and you're eating PB and jelly sandwiches for pregame meals now. So on the first day of Hell Week, one of our seniors, Steph Allison, thought it'd be a great idea for us to match shirts, even if they weren't Metro shirts. To show the coaches that we're still a team. Well, we had to pay for our own shirts, and Steph had the bright idea to buy white, plain t-shirts that we could wear with jeans and look cute after this was all over. So, picture 14 girls, all different shapes and sizes, wearing tight, women-cut, brown t-shirts. Why she picked poop brown, I will never know. We started that first practice with conditioning and no volleyballs. We played imaginary volleyball and worked on footwork. Then by the middle of practice, we earned a single ball, and we ran a team drill. And every time the ball would roll off the court, we'd have to team shag. That's right, 14 people running after one ball for an hour and a half. This madness continued for a whole week. By the end of the week, we earned a total of 6 balls and 8 peanut butter and jellies for pregame, but we won that weekend. Once we continued to win that season, we slowly earned all of our gear back and our locker room. We also won the RMAC Tournament that year and made it to the second round of the NCAA Tournament, so I guess Coach kind of knows what she's doing. As you can tell by these stories, Coach is an extremely competitive person. I honestly don't know anyone else that hates losing as much as her. Something I appreciate but didn't understand as an athlete was Coach didn't really care if we liked her. I know that sounds strange, but it's an important thing to understand as a coach. We always knew she cared about us by the relationship she built with us, but she wasn't scared to push buttons to get results. I mean, she literally made us run in a hotel parking lot after a road loss. And one time she cornered me in the locker room when I was blowing my nose and told me to get my head out of you-know-where and lead this team. And of course I got super angry and was really confused about why I was the only one getting called out. But I ended up playing better and stepping up in that moment. But I definitely didn't like her for the next few days. Good news, we got over it, and I love Coach now, and I also love this last story. Okay, so by your junior year, playing for Coach, you start to understand what's going to trigger her and the sign she's about to rip you a new one. First, she stands up, starts using her hands a lot when she starts talking to you. Her face gets a little red, the death glare is on point, and her voice goes up an octave. Well, there's this one time we weren't playing great, and we knew we were about to get it from Coach. And she had this little blemish or something on her chin. And we were stressing her out so much, she started picking it. So she calls a timeout and she's heated. And she comes into the huddle and she's like, "We need a pass. What are you guys doing? You're playing not to lose. And I'm bleeding." And I think every athlete's had this moment where you better not laugh because you're going to get more pissed. But did she really just yell at us because her chin is bleeding? All kidding aside, there's no question Debbie has had a tremendous coaching career. She has hit every achievement: national champion, NCAA streak, 23 winning seasons, conference champion, conference tournament champion, over 500 wins, 353 wins as a Roadrunner, and a 3-time Coach of the Year. But there's a different stat that I think is the most important. Debbie has coached well over 200 athletes throughout her career. As a coach, you have the opportunity to impact and influence your players. Coach has impacted my life in many ways, some of which I share with teammates here tonight. She has pushed me past my limits and helped me become the best player I could be. She taught us discipline, hard work, how to be confident, to fight through adversity, pay attention to details, and of course, control what you can control. She has always been someone that we could lean on and call at any point. If you need Coach, she would show up. And as much as we didn't like Coach during the filthy 50, 8-2-20s, 10-8-6-4-2, Hell Week, or running in a parking lot, those moments made us stronger and helped us learn that when you think you're at your limit, there's more that you can achieve. I feel incredibly lucky to have been able to play for Debbie and have had Joan as an AD. It didn't mean much to me when I was 20 years old, but I've reflected on my journey here and I've realized role models such as Debbie and Joan have had a profound impact on me. These two women really are groundbreakers. They were in the game long before it was cool to be a female head coach and took up space in a strong and passionate way. They showed me that you can be small but mighty, have high expectations, and demand respect in any space you enter, and for that I am so grateful. Coach and Joan, thank you for giving me the opportunity to play here at Metro. It's completely changed the course of my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you taking a chance on me 15 years ago. Debbie, you've truly left a legacy here at Metro State. Thank you for all your hard work and commitment to the volleyball program. You're a legend, not only here at MSU Denver, but in all of Division II volleyball. You're beyond worthy of this honor, and it was never a question of if, but when. And tonight's your night. I am so proud of you. Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Hey, Amy. I always teased Amy I was at least a full inch taller than she is, but it's not true. I'll finally admit it tonight, Amy. Boy, I tell you what, that coach you were just talking about, she should be fired. Woo, I don't know if I get away with half of that today. So the entertaining half of our little twosome just happened. This might be a nice time for all of you to refresh your drinks, head to the restroom. But thank you, Amy. I really appreciate that. I don't know, there's something really special. I considered who I wanted to make the remarks tonight. And Joe Quattrochi, you'll hear a little bit more about him, but obviously those of you who know me, you know that he's a very, very close friend of mine. And that we've been through a lot together, and I would have loved for him to have been here tonight. But it wasn't really a decision for me. I wanted Amy Watanabe to be tortured by having to speak in public. But we have really strong roots, and we've been through a lot together. She just really stole the show there. I think that this is why you get into coaching, is for the types of relationships that we have with our athletes. And I really do appreciate those remarks, Amy, most of them. So when John called me, my first thought about being inducted into the Metro State Hall of Fame, and I'm going to say Metro State because it's always Metro State for me. But what an honor and privilege it is, and I know there are several of you in this room that will be joining at such an elite group, and I'm very honored by this. Immediately after I got over the shock of the call from John, I had two additional thoughts. One was, how do you encapsulate 16 years of amazing stories, experiences, and relationships into a 45-minute speech? Just kidding. Although I think those of you who have been here for a while, you've seen a few of those 45-minute speeches, right? This won't be one of them, I promise. The second thought I had is, I wish I would have kept a better journal. You know, you go back and you start reflecting on things, and I've forgotten more than I can remember about the 16 years that I spent here. And we used to take our team to Europe, and I would always promise myself I was going to keep a meticulous daily journal. And I would come home with 3 pages. And I got started right, but I just never did stick with that journaling. And I think it's part of just being in the moment. You're working so hard to do what needs to happen next. But I sure wish I had that journal over the last few days as I decided what I wanted to share with you about my time here. But in lieu of the journal, I just went back chronologically, and I thought about, from the very beginning to the end, what was going on for me in this journey. In 1999, some of you may know, I had left coaching. I had been a coach at West Texas A&M. I went away for a year because I went back to school. My intention was to take the MCAT and go to medical school. And I don't know what I was thinking, but that was my intention. And so I got out of coaching, and I began that journey. And in the midst of being in some biochemistry and some organic chemistry and some other types of chemistry, I went back to West Texas, the school I'd been at, to watch them compete in the regional tournament. And it just so happened that Joan McDermott was the regional rep for that regional tournament. And I had known Joan. We'd been on some committees together. I didn't know her that well, but I did know her. And for the record, she put the cap on my career at West Texas A&M. We were the defending national champions, and we played Metro State in the regional semifinal. We were the heavy favorite, and they took us out. So I didn't know that was, yeah. I didn't know that was Joan's match, and Joan didn't last match, and she didn't know that it was my last match, but it was, so Joan's up on me there. But we were sitting watching the regional tournament, and she asked how things were going, and I said they were going okay, but I was really starting to miss coaching. She goes, really? She goes, I'm going to be looking for a coach soon. What are you thinking about? And I said, I'm thinking we need to keep talking, because I knew that this was a great program, and I thought a lot of Joan, and so we began the conversation. And what I found out in that conversation is that between Joan and Joe Arcese and some other people in administrative positions here, they were really trying to put the resources into this athletic program and raise it to a whole nother level. And that was something I was interested in being a part of. I thought the idea of living in Denver seemed like a great idea, coming from West Texas. And, just the opportunity to be a part of something that I knew was going in the right direction. So fast forward 2 months, I'm moving to Denver. And we started out in the most incredible situation in that spring of 2000. Todd Rosh was the returning assistant coach. He stayed on as my assistant. And we had 4 players that we kept on the roster. 4. I've always said I wish I would have had the forward thinking to write a book, a bestseller, I'm sure, Drills for 4 in volleyball. But what we really did with those 4 is we created a culture again. We created a culture of winning and commitment, and they bought in. And it was a weird spring. It was a really weird spring, but we started something really special. And over the next 4 years, we accomplished a lot with our program. We had some athletes, some recruits that really bought into what we wanted to do. In that time, we were RMAC champions 3 years. We won the RMAC tournament 3 times. We hosted 2 regional tournaments, and we were ranked as high as 2nd in the country. On a personal level, though, what a lot of people don't know is this was a really challenging time for me. I moved to Denver, and I knew Joan, and I kind of knew Todd Rosh, my assistant. I didn't know another soul in this town. I didn't know another soul on this campus. But at that time, we were forming a really tight-knit group within the athletic department. We had incredible coaches, an incredible athletic staff, and even Joe Quattrochi, we kind of brought him into the fold from the human performance sport department. And they were truly my support system. And I think all of us in this room can relate to the fact that MSU Denver is a unique place with unique challenges. We're considered a non-traditional institution. As coaches, we learn to lean on each other, learn from each other, and challenge each other. We also had some pretty awesome happy hours. Joan, Mike Dunlap, Derek Clark, Joe Quattrochi, Danny and Beth, in the early years, you guys were the ones that kind of held it together for me, I'm not going to lie. You helped me grow, and you helped me get through a really tough time. In 2004, the bomb was dropped on us. I don't know if Joan's going to talk about this, but we were just in our program, we were just in the process of reloading. We had all those seniors in 2003 that had done some really exceptional things. And we woke up on a Monday morning to front page of the Rocky Mountain News that the Board of Trustees was strongly considering dropping athletic scholarships. Just so happened that was the week of the state volleyball tournament and the week before the early signing period for volleyball. And we'd lined up some great kids, so as coaches, we had a lot to do to scramble in that situation. And I give a lot of credit to Joan and Mike Dunlap because they did the heavy lifting to help us educate and convince critical individuals of the value of athletics as the front porch of the institution. And you heard that term earlier. I really already had that term, but athletics is the front porch of the institution. And even at a school like ours, we were able to do so much. And it actually went to a vote in the student body, and they were willing to pay a higher athletic fee to keep athletics at their school. So we went through some tough times there, and fast forward a couple more years. Coach Dunlap was leaving. Joan came to me at an athletic social and nudged me and said, "Hey, you know you're the longest tenured coach now," after just 6 years. And I didn't know exactly what that meant. I just knew I had really big shoes to fill. Over the next decade, I continued to have the pleasure of working with some of the most amazing assistant coaches and athletes, and our success continued. We graduated the majority of our athletes, some taking a little longer than others, and we proudly watched several of our assistant coaches move on to be head coaches themselves. But it was still the incredible coaches and staff who made working at this great institution such a fun ride. At some point in the middle of the 2000s, I did a bit of a self-evaluation. When I'd come to Metro State, I don't know that I had anticipated it was going to be my final destination as a coach. So what was keeping me here? And I think it was the following. One, I believed in the Division II philosophy. I still do to this day. I love the balance for both the coaches and the athletes that I knew could be lost if I went to another level. I loved working for an athletic director who was fully committed to our success and to helping me grow as a coach. She pushed me to serve on committees, be a leader and a mentor with our younger coaches, and supported me with the resources to do things the right way. I was surrounded by some of the most amazing coaches in the country. You have to admit, we have some big hitters in this room tonight. Mike Dunlap, I want to see that ring. Danny Sanchez, Jen Fisher, Linda Lappy, you guys all got snatched away because you were so good and taken to that next level. We lost these coaches to Division I because they are that good, and we had such a cool group of coaches. I even had 2 of them for roommates for a while. Jared and I solved all the world's problems on many occasions over a beer, or in his case, a bourbon. And Adrienne, I liked her so much, I let her bring her husband to live with me too. That probably needs some explaining. So Adrienne and I had become pretty good friends, and she and Mike had bought a house, and they were having it remodeled, and it didn't get done in time before the wedding. So I said, "You're both welcome to stay at my house till that job is finished." I didn't quite get permission from my dog, Emily. And after a couple of weeks of them being in the house, Emily decided that she would get on their bed and do her business, and by the next day, they were moving on. Steph Begley, I actually think you were next in line had you not met your man. I think you were my next roommate. It was just kind of the thing for us to do. I love my 4th thing that kept me at Metro State. I love the diversity and inclusiveness of our institution and campus. We see a big push in this area within the NCAA right now, but it's always been what defined Metro State. And I grew to value that aspect of our environment in a huge way. I love the challenges. Number 5, I love the challenges associated with a non-traditional campus and the incredible stories we saw with our athletes and the athletes in other programs. You've already heard Christy Robinson's story. What an amazing story. I knew parts of it, but I really enjoyed hearing that tonight. And Anna Mapes, I got 2 more stories for you in this room. Anna Mapes returned to finish her last 2 years of eligibility at the age of 27, while married with 2 kids, while majoring in engineering, and was a major impact player for us and helped us to 2 of our program's best seasons in our history. Where else does that happen? Where else does that happen? And Amy Watanabe. Amy walked on, and she told you she had no idea what was going on. This is a true story. That at the end of the season, Western New Mexico came into our league. Western New Mexico, how does that make sense? Down in Silver City, they came into our league in 2006, and in the first year, they won the league, so they had the right to host the conference tournament. So 7 teams, Kearney, Nebraska, all the schools from Denver, we went all the way down to Silver City. And we get down there, and we actually played extremely well. Amy played out of her mind. I think you were all tournament. And somewhere along the way, it was revealed to me that Amy had no idea what we were there for. I thought, we have some work to do. But Amy walked on, and by the end of the season, I had no choice but to put her on scholarship. Amy also entered with some struggles and insecurities about her academics, and yet she finished with a degree and eventually a master's degree. These stories, this. It was the desire for me to be a part of an athletic department on the rise and to work for an athletic director I admired that brought me to Metro State. But it was the relationships and friendships built and the incredible success stories of the student athletes that kept me here for 16 years. A few years ago, I turned 30. 50. And Joe Q and Jill Stevens planned a birthday week for me in California. And it's interesting, I think at 50, you really kind of evaluate your life, what it's been, where you're going, and who you want to celebrate with. And all the way out in California, the majority of the people that were there for my 50th birthday party celebrating were from Metro State. And I think that says it all. But all good things must come to an end. We had a great run, and now Jenny Glenn and her staff, along with this amazing Team 53, are carrying the torch. And are they ever? You guys are just doing a fantastic job. I want to congratulate the other inductees. This is truly a special class to go in with. And I have a couple of thank yous. It's impossible to say something about everyone who impacted my time at Metro State, but if you're here tonight, there's a high probability you made a difference in my experience, and I thank you. Elaine Beck's, I don't know how many Hall of Fame speeches I've heard where you were mentioned and thanked, but it's many. And there's a reason for that. You have done so much for this program for so long, and I thank you for always supporting us, and I personally thank you for your friendship. I wish my parents were here to share this night with me tonight. They saw quite a few Metro State matches in the early years back when they were able to travel, but I want to publicly thank them for supporting me, first through all my years as an athlete, and then my career as a coach. I think they'll get to hear this on video. If you know me very well, you know that Joe Quattrochi is my best friend and has supported our program and the rest of the athletic teams for decades now. Our relationship developed when my mom got cancer, and he used his own experiences with cancer to help me through that challenging time in my life. I also want to thank him for his patience through the years, listening to the same worn-out stories of me trying to find that just right recruit or challenge my athletes in the just right way. I know he fully understands and appreciates the struggles and rewards for all the coaches because he's been supporting us all these years. Thanks, Joe and Mike, for being here to be representative of Joe Q tonight, and I know he wishes he was here. Thank you, Joan, for taking a chance on a coach who had walked away from the game. You had to believe in my authentic desire to return, and you supported me all the way. Thank you, Jill, for challenging me as a coaching peer, for helping me grow as a coach and a person, and for always being my biggest fan on the court and in life. We're still 2-2 in volleyball, so I guess we'll just have to settle it on the pickleball court now. Thank you for everyone who was here tonight, for John Kitzman and your crew, for making this happen. I believe in my heart that I'm taking all of my former coaches and players in with me, and I'm forever honored for this recognition. Thank you.